and welcome to ReCall The Midwife. We are three superfans who watch Call The Midwife and talk about it. Today we are watching Series 11, Episode 3. I'm Alex.
I'm Becky.
I'm Jen. A reminder that this week's episode deals with substance abuse, homelessness, and death. So if those topics are ones you'd prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one.
The residents of Poplar are concerned by the number of meth drinkers in and around Poplar who have been displaced by the housing improvement scheme. Nancy and Fred come to the aid of one in particular called Bernard. Violet takes up the cause when she joins a delegation from Tower Hamlets going to Parliament to meet the Minister of State. Sister Julienne is taken ill with an ear infection, unable to make arrangements to celebrate the centenary of the Order of St Raymond and Arthurs coming to Poplar. She hands over the reins to Shelagh, much to Sister Hilda's annoyance. Phyllis cares for Julie, who has been concealing her pregnancy. Eventually, she's forced to seek care, and when Dr. Turner first examined her, she's 36 weeks pregnant. Her mother, Thelma, rings the baby's father, Jeff, who is stationed in Germany. He goes AWOL in order to return to Poplar to marry her, but it means that Julie has to give up her dreams of a music career and a record contract. Well, for our listeners, I've just had to record that synopsis about 3 times.
But because of my fantastic editing, you can't tell.
You'll never know. You'll never know.
Didn't even need to tell them. Speaking of listeners, can I just do a bit of a shout out? Because in real life, that BBC thing came out this week and I was really nervous and I was
so nervous.
She was nervous, listeners. Alex was very nervous.
I looked like hell, guys. I was really in loads of pain and loads of drugs. But point being, I was really nervous about it coming out, and the ridiculous amounts of love and messages we've had is just insane. So I just want to say thank you so much. You're all so lovely. I've not been stalked or trolled. So but yeah, I just genuinely thank you so much. That was really, really kind. Loads and loads of lovely messages. I've just literally got one right now as well, and they just keep coming. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Well, I really appreciate it.
That's so sweet. I'm so glad.
Well, also a lot of love for the podcast, and that was obviously you two as well.
Yeah, Alex has shared some messages with us, which but we'd love any and all more that you want to share, because I didn't realize it was quite that many.
Oh yeah, you deserve it, Alex, because you do everything.
So yeah, it was really, but also the pod's getting loads of love as well, so that's nice.
Oh, so glad. Also, you sent us a message today from a listener of ours in Czechoslovakia, and
Agnes. This is a special shout out to Agnes.
Yes,
we hope you're having a good day. We sending our love. This is just a special message to you, just to say hiya. We hope you're doing well.
Yes, and actually, I'll just say this. I'm not going to say anything about Agnes, your situation, which you messaged us about, but Agnes had a day or a week or a time where kind of like when it rains, it pours, and just going through a lot of things at once. And I'll just say I have not had the exact same experience, but when I was reading the message that Alex passed along to us, I felt very much for you, Agnes, because I was actually thinking about this the other day. When I moved states about 1.5 years ago, I had started a full-time job, really, really intense full-time job. I was living with family. I was driving back and forth 5 hours one way to where I used to live to like pack up, move, arrange, rearrange, get my affairs in order with my mom and everything. And then the weekend we moved, I literally worked all week. Friday at 5 o'clock, I got in the car. I started driving the 5 hours back to North Carolina. In the middle of my drive, my oil light came on. I had to stop at a random gas station in the middle of nowhere. A very nice middle-aged gentleman took pity on me and helped me fill my oil in my car so that I could make it back to my house that we were selling, and then slept basically on like a bed on a pile of curtains, essentially, because there wasn't anything almost left because we'd been trying to pack everything. Woke up the next morning, moved all day, drove back again 5 hours, woke up on Sunday morning, unpacked everything into the house, tried to unpack as much as we could for the rest of the day. And then my sister flew back to New York at like 6 a.m. So I had to wake up super early to take her to the airport. My mom was locked in her bedroom because we have these old doorknobs we didn't know how to work when we first moved in.
I made it sound like you'd locked her in.
Yeah, like we just had to lock her in her room to keep her away.
I know. No,
for her own safety.
It was just that the lock was engaged and she didn't realize, and she closed the door to go to sleep, and we didn't realize until the next morning, so she was like locked in there. And then I worked all day on Monday, and then I came home, and we hadn't even closed on the house yet, and then the plumbing failed. Like literally our toilets were backed up and we couldn't use the bathroom, and it was an absolute nightmare. And it just I just want to say, like, when you've gone through like 100 things at once, it is so tough. And so just know that our hearts go out to you, and we are totally with you, and you're gonna do great, and we're rooting for you.
Also, one more thing before we start.
Yeah.
How amazing is the news of the Call the Midwife movie The Call The
Oh,
Midwife audio
yes.
prequel. They have listened to us go, Heidi Thomas, bet she's on speed dial right now.
Yes.
Oh, and also I want to say one
I
more
feel
thing.
very confident this is because of us only.
Since
Yes.
that BBC interview thing came out, some of my friends have seen it because I've shared it to a few of my friends. And I just want a shout out to my friend Angie and my friend Emma, who are both started from the start and are listening to it. They've never watched Call the Midwife or anything before, but they're watching it all and loving it. So,
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
got a
by the
sense of
time
what
you
I'm
get
talking
to
about.
this, I hope you're still listening.
I said we do get better, I promise. Anyway, speaking about podcasts, should we get on with it?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're on series 11, episode 3. Nancy with her tights being broken, Nurse Robinson being all smug. I've always got a spare pair of them.
I know. Lucille, I don't know. It
She
was
was
just
actually
annoying
being
the way
nice
she
and
said
kind.
that. She was being nice, but it was like, oh, she knows I always have a pair, like, that I can lend her. I'm like, Lucille, come on now.
Yeah.
Should we start with, there wasn't very birth heavy this week, was it?
No, only one
I mean,
birth.
the only baby storyline was Julie's, who I can't believe she got to 36 weeks pregnant.
Do you know what I
And
can't
nobody
believe
knew,
more?
the man couldn't tell. Yeah.
You know what I can't believe more? That she was a singer. Did you hear her singing? They could have at least got an actress who was outstanding at singing.
Alex, she could be listening.
Yeah, but I don't think she's a singer. Well, whatever song, I don't think that was her singing either, if I'm honest.
Well,
It looked like she was lip syncing. But
Yeah, but if it
guys,
wasn't
how is
her
she a
singing-
special singer?
If it wasn't her singing, wouldn't they have got a good singer for her to lip sync against? I'm not
That's what
saying
I
anything.
thought.
I thought she was good, guys.
I didn't. I was like, she's the next big thing.
yeah, her singing was okay, but the way that her
It
manager
wasn't.
was banging on about, oh my God, she's the voice of a generation, she's a talent of a lifetime. You're never, like I'm gonna take you to the moon and back, my babes. Like her manager
Yeah.
was just like, oh Lord.
When her
She
manager
sounded like
picked-
she was like Adele in like 1970 or something.
When this episode started and her manager, Mo, picks her up,
Yes.
What do you
Also,
think
what-
Mo's short for?
Morris.
I thought that.
What's her mum been in, Alex? Was she in Brookside?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
Was
She was
one
the
of
first lesbian
lesbians?
kiss. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was the first lesbian kiss on British TV.
I
Oh, wow.
recognised her.
I did not recognize her at all.
But when Mo picked her up, I thought,
I thought he was gonna
she
be
was
the-
pregnant by the manager. I thought
Oh,
he
I
was a dirty
I
dog.
thought he was going to be a villain big time in this,
Oh,
but
no,
actually,
he
he
was
was
really
lovely.
nice.
Yeah, he was. He believed in her way too much.
Well,
Yeah.
he was also like so practical. Like he was like
Well, should
like,
we actually
we're
talk about? Should we actually give some context about what we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yes,
let's.
yes.
Yes, let's. So this is it was a bit weird. This so Nurse Crane goes calling for Maureen. Maureen, we never saw.
Never. She was like, "Oh,
yeah,
she's out."
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just a general visit. I'll leave a note. Okay.
Yeah, and it was Thelma, her next door neighbour, who was saying she was out, and she was like, "Oh, how was your varicose fit? Oh, it turned out loveliness." Anyway, Thelma was then saying goodbye to her daughter, she was very pretty, Julie, her daughter.
She
Oh
was.
yeah, she's beautiful girl.
Yeah, and also mixed race. They were basically her mum was white, so obviously her dad must have been black, but she basically was talking about her dad abandoned her growing up. So her
Yeah, she
daughter
said it's always been me and her. Like just eat. That's it.
Yeah,
like
so
from day
anyway,
one.
a manager comes
Do
to
you know
pick her
what?
up.
I wonder though. I wonder if he was an American serviceman during the war,
Yeah,
What? Why?
and maybe he's returned to the States. You never know.
I don't think so because.
Oh, Jen.
Well, okay. What year is this? 1968? 1969?
67,
Yeah.
isn't it?
67? I
Yeah.
think it's past 67.
Oh, is it? Is it 68 now? I've just
No,
written the
it's
wrong thing on the
67. It's 68.
right.
Is it
Anyway,
8? Anyway, I mean, how old is Julie? She can't be more than like 20. Like, just think about the timing.
Jen, don't rain on my parade.
But why is it that an American soldier is going to be the one to be a deadbeat dad and like abandon his
Also,
child?
it's 1967.
But
So if she's 22,
but why could
also, not all Americans returned immediately in 1945. If he returned home in 1946, that
I'm just
all-
saying, even
ties
if
up
we
nice.
agree on the timing, I'm just saying it could be a British guy that walked out on his like girlfriend and young baby. That's all. I think it's unfair to
it
say
could
that an
be. I'm
American.
not saying that
is
it's
the one that did
typical of
that.
an American to have done that.
We already have so much anti-American bias on this show.
I was just trying to come up with a theory.
calm down, dear. Do you know what I mean? God, we're just saying it was a man. It wasn't about anti-American. It was anti-men, Jen.
As it always should just be. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Okay.
so Nurse Crane's outside, and she's like about outside this house, and this is where they first were speaking, and she was like, "Oh, that's my
Yes.
Julie. She's gone off with her manager." And then she was like, "Oh yeah, I've gathered that from the fact that you just said this is a manager." And then and then like I liked the comment that a girl with a gift is a woman with potential. I really like
That's a good
phrase.
line. That's a good line.
Yeah. So yeah, so they were talking about then they showed her singing and she went all dizzy and I thought, oh, she got a brain tumor is my first thought, not thinking about the fact that it was Call the Midwife and it was about births. And it was just what annoyed me was I'm just gonna have to say it again. She was singing and everyone in the crowd was amazed by her, like, wow, clapping like they've never seen anything better. And I was just like, are you joking me? Like, and I was going to say no shade to the actress, but it obviously is. So anyway.
Yeah, see, this is the part of the show where if I had said this, you would have been like, to the actor who played that role, like, we think you did a great job, and, you know, the whole podcast does not endorse this.
Yeah, but I don't think it was her singing because she was lip syncing.
When people say, "Oh, she was off key," or "Oh, she's out of tune,"
yeah,
yes,
I can't hear that.
Yeah, but you can't sing.
No, I can't.
See, I just didn't think she was a very great singer. I didn't think she was like
Bex,
bad.
and I love you dearly, Bexton, dearly, but you are possibly one of the most tone deaf people I've ever met.
No, awful.
Yeah, but you say so that bad. It's great in its own way. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually impressive.
It saves you from the horrors that the rest of us recognize because you're just like, oh, I don't know.
Someone else from our kitchen from uni is also, I've never, them two together, it's a delight. I'm not even lying. I actually really enjoy it. Anyway,
so she's in a club and she has a very beautiful like 60s, like it's like a very flowy dress and she's got the blue eyeshadow and the bouffant do and everything. Beautiful girl, but like the dress she's wearing, in all fairness, it was hard to tell. She had a bump. But then when she comes home,
well, she has a funny turn on stage, doesn't she?
Yeah. And her manager is like, oh, let's get you home, you know, in a nice way. And the mom is like, oh, you know, you have a fever. Like, I think this, you know, it's something serious. We got to go see the doctor. And she's like, no, mom, we agreed. And she's like, yeah, I'm not putting your health above like our secret or whatever. And then that's when Julie mentions the fact, because she says something about the dad, and she's like, oh, well, it's just like we're pen friends now, like, you know, it all seems to have cooled off, like he doesn't really care about me. So you're like, oh, okay, well, he's kind of a not very good guy or whatever. And so they go to Dr. Turner.
She did think that was what was intimated, that her and Jeff had kind of turned into pen friends, like it was all fizzling out.
Well, yeah, but no shade on him for that.
Yeah, but that's what they were saying. That's what they were intimating.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and to your point, Bex, in all fairness, like she says, like it's time for you to tell Jeff or whatever the guy's name is, because like she hasn't told literally anyone.
Jeff Lilly.
And it was like, well, I don't really know if I want to tell him because I don't know if he like really cares about me anymore, basically. And so then they go to the doctor, and she wears a tight dress, and you can tell she has like quite a big bump.
And the manager also didn't know.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my God, wait, what? Because he comes up to the house like right as they're going to see Dr. Turner, and he tells her that he has an audition for a television show for tomorrow night. And then when they go to Dr. Turner says, oh, she's not going anywhere tomorrow night. She has an infection of her waters, which I was like, ugh.
She has a UTI. Oh, sorry, I thought it was explained.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was I thought it meant like the amniotic fluid.
No, water infection. That's a UTI.
Just a UTI.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's called in UK.
Oh, that doesn't seem as big of a deal then, I guess. But anyway, it was
also
serious,
it can be quite harmful if you're pregnant, so it isn't great for the baby.
Right. But so then that's when kind of the quote, the truth comes out, and he's like, well, maybe I can move it, you know, to like next week or something. And then everyone's like,
he was a bit funny about it as well, though. But also my favorite bit was when he was trying to smoke in the surgery, and Miss Higgins was like, you can't smoke that there. And he's like, this is really posh, really amazing cigar. And she's like, I don't care what it is, mate. That was lols. But then she was 36 weeks pregnant.
Yeah. That's insane. Her mum should not have let that go for that long.
I know, because she didn't get any medical care or anything the whole time.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
It was really not good. And then that's when the manager is like, well, I can't push this off too long. Like, they're not going to wait for her. Like, this opportunity is going to like pass her by if she doesn't take it.
But also, we start trying to think of ways to make it more, you know, she needs to be married to make it more legitimate. Like, he was like, I can sell this.
He's like, I can sell it if this is like a above board kind of a thing. And so then the mom's like, okay. So then the mom calls Jeff, and then
well, hang on, before that as well, Nurse Crane is like, you're not going anywhere, madam. You've got work to do last, and it's not on stage. I thought, hang on, like if she gets sorted, she can go on stage, mate. Like, calm down. Do you know what I mean?
Well, she can just sit down and sing. I mean, it's not like she's like up there like Britney Spears dancing her life away, and
she very much
showing her tums and all that kind of stuff. So
I mean, that was half-assed. I don't want to say half-assed. I'll say half-hearted. Either way, it was rubbish. I'm not gonna lie, guys.
Yeah, but so then while that's all getting sorted out, Jeff pops back. He goes AWOL to the army and he leaves and comes back to say how much he loves her, how much he wants to marry her, how, he couldn't and then that's actually when we
I
get this
love
then
Jeff.
when
I
he
loved
says the
him.
line about how they both seem to be children who were raised without
Yes.
like like two parents in the family. Like I don't know exactly what Jeff's story was, but he said something about how they bonded over the fact that they didn't really have,
Well,
the
just
family life that
sorry,
they wanted.
sorry.
Yeah.
Just before this, it was Nurse Crane and the manager in the room with her, right? So this is
Yes.
before they found out Jeff had come. And Julie was saying about how she's had it hard because of the colour of the skin. Nurse Crane just completely dismissed it and was like, I think you'll find everyone has that. I get why, but at the same time, I was a bit like, well, yeah, Nurse Crane, you didn't have to deal with that. And
Well,
then
the
the
whole
manager's talking about putting the baby in a
yeah.
residential facility. And we're like, what? Like, it's just all this all at once. And then Jeff walks in. And then he's like, is she having it now?
And they were like, "Oh my God, you're such a dummy. Like, you don't know anything about this." Yeah, they really glossed over all of the discussion about interracial relationships, her being a black woman, like all of that. Like it
Yeah.
was like a non-starter, which in a way I kind of liked it because it shows I mean, the fact that none of them acted like it mattered is really how honestly it should be because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
But it also ignores the true real world context that obviously
Yeah.
it does
I feel like
affect
they
all of
had to
us, you
mention it
know?
because they were like, "Oh, she is black," so we do kind of have to mention it. We've
Yeah.
not really got time this episode.
Well, it was almost like an episode of Bridgerton, you know what I mean? Where like where the topic doesn't really come up, but like,
Yeah,
it's like everyone's falling in love and like no one's the same race as each other, which is again like totally fine and wonderful, but like normally people would have something to say about it, even
yeah.
if it's just internal to themselves and they would and they just didn't, because Jeff is white too, so
But
like
lovely Jeff, who was also he
Jeff
said he
was
didn't want the
sweet.
kid being a bastard. So nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he kind of says like what kind of a person would I be if I let my kid like just not have a dad if I didn't stand up for the
well,
right thing in this
I
moment, which
didn't
I did
know.
kind of get. I did
I
kind of
didn't
get
know
that.
if that was a nice sentiment or not at first, but then
It was
I
the
really
way
loved him.
it was the way he
Yeah.
said it because he said we don't he said something along the
What
lines of
Titch? Our
we don't want
Titch.
Titch being a bastard. And I just
Yeah.
thought started that with the really lovely sentiment calling the baby Titch. But then yeah.
But also, like, is that a reason to get married? So I thought, oh God, this is going to be a disaster. But
I
actually,
mean,
he seemed so lovely, and he did love her, and he did want to marry her.
yeah.
But he didn't really start it with like, oh, I really want to marry you, I love you. He started it with being like, I don't want the baby to be a bastard. Will you marry me, kind of thing. But anyway,
Well,
I was a bit like, oh, should she
yeah.
marry him? Anyway, I was glad
Okay.
she
But
did.
she did, and then literally they had a literally fast ceremony because she
Yeah.
started going to labor in the rector's office or in the part, like whatever the justice of the peace office.
What is it called then? The registrar.
Registry office.
Yeah, the
Registry
registrar.
office.
Yeah,
Office.
Over here, I think we say the justice of the peace.
that sounds more
But
important than it probably should. Carry on.
yeah, honestly, yeah. And I think it is. So she comes and she's got a little cutie, like mini white, mini dress on that's like white and everything. And she's in labor. And so they take her in to give birth. And I think that's when the manager does the smoking thing with Miss Higgins, right?
No, that was the first time when
Oh,
he
because,
brought in champagne and
champagne and what was it? Some
it was
food item.
it was pie and mash
Oh,
to
yes.
celebrate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to celebrate the big arrival and everything.
yeah.
I actually really like the manager. Honestly,
Same. Again,
he
I
was
thought he was going to be awful. Turned out
I
lovely, and he cared about her.
Yeah,
he
I'm with
Such
did.
talent,
manager.
guys. Did you hear her?
He really wanted her to succeed. Like he really believed in her. He
Yeah, but
was
with a
like,
voice like that, girls, how could you not?
but
You're
here's
so judgmental.
the thing.
I'm not. I've just got ears.
But here's the thing. She gives birth to this baby, and there is a big question of like, what are we going to do about this baby? Because you have to go to work. Like, truly, if you want this to happen, you have to go to work. And so there's, debates about is she going to go to this or that or how she's going to do it or whatever. And obviously, Nurse Crane says, you have to stay here. You have to take care of this baby. That's all you should be worried about and everything. And there's kind of this like, tug of war about where she's going to go.
Well, also
But
the fact that she's got a
ultimately,
contract, she's worried about that.
yeah, but if she breaks it, it's like this is it. I mean, you're done for. And
I mean, according to Alex, she wasn't going to make it anyway.
No chance.
she was like the next Shirley Bassey by her manager standards.
She was
Absolutely not.
Lulu. Can't stand Lulu.
I can't stand Lulu.
But the thing is that I don't know who Lulu is. But the thing is that
Good.
she makes a decision not to pursue this career. It's
Well,
not
hang on.
taken from
Should we
her.
talk about what she has though? She has a daughter, and what does
A
she call her?
daughter.
Nicola
Oh,
Samantha.
yes. Very
Very
modern
modern name,
name.
guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I always wanted a Nicola as a baby.
Oh, but then you got
Didn't
the
do it,
chance
like.
and you didn't do it. Yeah. Yeah, but so she has a little girl and it's like she has the opportunity to go and she decides she doesn't want to. Just
Which is
wants to be with her
fair. But
baby.
also, I think that's nice though, because it's also, she has the scene at the end with her mum, Thelma, and it's actually a really
Well,
cute scene. Oh, go
we've
on.
overlooked the fact that the baby is unwell because the baby has a
Oh,
temperature.
yes.
So the
Oh,
baby
they
has
both have an
to
infection. Yeah, that's
rest.
right. Yeah, so the baby
So
has to go to the hospital.
then she's separated from the baby.
Yeah, which must be horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough to her.
And I think
Yeah.
that obviously makes her realise how much she loves this baby and stuff. Not that she wouldn't realise it anyway, but you know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
puts it forefront in her mind. So she doesn't want to
poor
leave it.
Jeff gets frog marched out of the maternity hospital by
Yeah.
two MPs.
Oh yeah, and then because he committed like a
Are they
But
called
that also
MPs?
means the baby's kind of, it kind of forces her again to be like, well, the other parent's gone. I'm on my own with this baby kind of thing. And I want to be the support
I
system for it.
I did think it was going to work out for Jeff though, because when he said the thing about like they'll take compassion on me once they know the reason and
Yeah, I think
everything.
it
Yeah, and
will.
I think
I
they
think it will.
will. I think
Yeah.
they'll be like, he's done the decent thing. Fair dues, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's only going to get detained for
But
like a little bit before
to
they send him
to
back.
end this storyline, her and Thelma and her daughter Julie had a really nice scene where Thelma was like, I wanted more for you. And Julie was like, you gave me everything that I needed, and this is what I want. Like, I thought it was quite a nice thing to basically be like, you're not just a mum, you are a mum. Like, that's amazing. That's everything to me. And like, that's everything I'm going to be to my daughter. And I thought that was really, actually really sweet.
Do you know what I also like with this storyline? How accepting Thelma was of
Yeah.
Julie's situation.
Although she should have told him before 36 bloody
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. Like, and he could have actually requested leave and
Yeah.
returned in an orderly manner.
That would have absolutely been a lot better.
Well, also, let's just be real. Like, okay, let's say she had a completely healthy pregnancy until 40 weeks. That's still only a month different. Like, what do you think is going to happen? This girl is going to give birth and she is still going to have a newborn and it is still going to affect her ability to perform. Like, I don't know how they thought they were like even if they managed to hide it till like full term, the manager
Yeah.
was going to have to find out and it was going to put a wrench in all of the plans regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was not a good plan anyway. Like,
Yeah.
obviously,
100%.
yeah, I mean, it was just like neither one of them were thinking it through. And frankly, the fact that the manager wasn't more mad about it than he was again kind of like a testament to him because it's like, sir, they've bungled your whole like because he even
Yeah,
said
but
at one point
Jen, he couldn't give up on that talent.
And
he said he was like, I've driven you around every day for a year. Like I've been taking you to and it was just like, oh my word, sir.
Yeah.
And at one point, she's going to go. We should say that when she's going to go ahead with it, did we say about the fact that she's going to be on TV? And he's like, it's amazing what they can do with camera angles.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
And we
yeah.
were like, she could have just sat down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then also too, he's like they took a photo for like the press. They were like, "Oh, if the press gets wind of this, like this will help make it look all more legitimate and everything." So they took like
And I thought, no, it won't, because you've literally just
Have it on your
stood in
wedding
the
day.
background with his corsage on. Like the
Well,
baby
they're not
was
gonna
born on
they're
the wedding day. That's
they're
not
not
going to be respectable.
they're not gonna tell them it's the wedding day. They're just gonna say, "Oh, Jeff is there." Like they got
He's
married
won a
before he ever
celebratory
left. Like, yeah,
corsage.
no, they're gonna lie about the wedding. Yeah, he's there. He's just dressed up for the birth of his daughter. He's so excited. We wanted to, da 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 blah blah. Yeah, they're just gonna make a story up about
He
it.
always
Everything's
wears
spin.
dress military uniform for significant.
Well, for the
Yes.
paper for the photo, that's why. Photo for the paper, even. That's why.
Yeah, he got dressed up. He got dressed up special for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a happily ever after ending, It's very like just kind of like sweet and easy. It's not yeah, the storyline was good. It didn't blow my mind. It was good. It was fine.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, the darkness and sadness is on the other end of the episode.
Ugh.
Nancy is taking her debut on the district round.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what?
And
That
she has
absolutely made me howl.
the joy of going to the TB hostel.
Oh,
Oh
do you know what?
gosh.
So, Sister Frances was amazing. She was so excited for Nancy to help her with the sputum test at the hostel for tuberculosis men. And then Trixie's like non-stop glamour absolutely made me howl.
I know.
Trixie's Trixie, did you notice Trixie like carrying a box in front of her stomach?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I really noticed her pregnancy this episode. Like,
Yeah.
especially, I don't want to jump ahead, but especially when she's at the very end wearing that green dress with like that special kind of lace over top, and then the sash is like right under her boobs, like Ampere waist or whatever. I was like, yes. I was like, yes, this girl is hiding a pregnancy for
But
sure.
they must film it. Or I was thinking about this because in the first episode, when Matthew and Trixie do that scene, where they're at the baby's graveside and she's wearing that yellow coat.
Wait. This episode?
No, in the first episode.
Oh,
And she was
okay.
wearing a
Yes,
big like,
yes.
smock coat. She looked very pregnant in that. And then
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. She looks less pregnant in this. But then I was thinking they probably need to film all those scenes on the days when Matthew's on set, don't they?
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe, but I would think that they would film a whole episode and then move on to a whole new episode.
I don't know.
I don't,
Well,
I don't, I don't think I think because the thing is like you're saying
but
they
if
film
they're not, if
every
they're
episode
filming a
with
whole,
Matthew for the whole season at once and then they move on.
well, no, not in one day, but maybe over like a week or 2 week period. Like you can't just bring him in like randomly, like, oh, you've got a 5 minute, 2 minute scene. See you next
Oh,
Wednesday.
Yeah,
no, I
because he
mean,
doesn't have a lot.
well, no. I don't know. I don't think it works that way. I think my guess would be is that they film an episode and then they move on to the next episode. And then like however long it takes to film it, like 2 weeks or whatever like that, they have call sheets every day and they say who has to be there and who doesn't. And whether you have a 1 minute scene or, you're whatever, if they're, I mean, they'll
I'd come
try
in
to.
every day. It just seems too much fun.
But wouldn't they film all of it? Wouldn't they mash up his bits a bit?
No. Why? I mean, it's a job. He's working it. Like he's a series cast member. Like they're not accommodating his schedule to make it easier for him.
I thought it'd be cheaper to pay him that way.
No, I don't think. I don't know. I mean, usually,
I mean, this is TV money, Bex.
well,
It's
the
not
thing
working
is,
out after.
I don't know how it is in Britain, but like in the US, like there's rates for things, and then like once you reach a certain rate, and then like depending on the contract you have, like you'll have an episode rate or like a series rate, or if you're a guest star versus a cast member. I mean, I don't think it's like he's not getting paid by the hour. I don't think. I really don't think that's the case.
I mean, we'll ask him when we chat to him. I can't ask
Yeah,
him because he'll be
yeah.
able to speak.
Ollie Ricks, tell us all about it. Get in touch. So, anyways, from Ollie Ricks to this, I'm sorry, Ollie. Nancy's saying there's
Trixie
nothing
looks
like
pregnant,
decanting.
yeah.
Yeah. Nothing like decanting phlegm to brighten your morning.
Oh God, I know.
Now,
That's
this
gross.
is where Mr. Hutley was dying with Sister Francis in the hostel.
But give some context of who he is and like where he is.
So I've already spoken about the fact that it's a tuberculosis hostel. And
Yes.
basically, these are men who are suffering from TB. Now, Nancy was like, I thought they used to live in the country and stuff. She was like, well, no, because there's a lot of people who live in the city and stuff. And basically, this is a lot cheaper to do it. But also, these are a lot of men who have worked in the service of their lives or the army or anything like that. And they kind of basically, this episode was a lot about alcoholics and people like that and homeless people. And it sounds
Remember,
like
everybody, my dad's cousin who was living in the hen house at this point with tuberculosis.
well, that was absolute bliss compared to this place.
Yeah.
But Sister Francis is also saying this is much better than, being outside like they have been, that kind of thing.
Well,
So
yeah, because Nancy makes a
saying-
disparaging comment about, oh, this doesn't seem like a very nice place to be. And she
Yeah.
says, well, this is actually like safe and stable and they get care and they get, compassion and everything.
and
that's
love,
a lot
'cause
better
Sister
than the
Francis is
alternative.
out bloody standing there.
Yeah, she is. And it's a nice, honestly, I felt for Nancy because she was, I thought she was kind of the audience in that moment because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would be like, well, this doesn't seem like a great way to care for folks like this. And Francis explains why it is and why why, and even if it's not perfect, it's a necessary service.
Yeah, but also they're getting care. They're getting cared for by Sister Francis and other nuns because
Right.
she basically gets Dr. Turner to check on Mr. Hutley to check because she's saying he's poorly. I don't think he's got long left because obviously
Well,
she
she
now
says,
has
"I
quite a
think
lot of
he's
experience
dying."
of dealing
Yeah.
with people dying. So and basically he rings her and he's like, "You're right. It could be less than 24 hours." And she's like, "I understand what you're saying, Dr. Turner. No one dies alone, Dr. Turner."
Which honestly is so compassionate. So compassionate.
But also, this is another thing where SMJ really comes into her own. Like Sister Monica
she does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mojo, she absolutely comes into her own with death and stuff. I know that sounds awful, but she, it just shows the compassion that these nuns have. Like it's not just births they're there for, it's deaths and it's a lot of stuff. And it's just absolutely outstanding the job they do. But then So I'll do just Mr. Hutley really quick because there's loads of stuff surrounding this. But Nancy brings supplies in for Sister Monica Joan and Sister Frances because I think she felt a bit funny. But we'll talk about all the other stuff that goes on with Nancy. But just for Mr. Hutley, but she brings supplies in because I think she feels a bit tight about the way she's been. A bit horrible about the way kind of she was a bit like to Sister Frances, like this isn't a nice place and stuff. And well, it is because it's nicer than they've ever had before. And I think that's what she didn't really understand.
Well, Nancy, I don't think really understands until Fred chastises her in the newsagents appropriately. Yes. So,
but we can talk about that in a minute. But basically, that was just a really, I think it just really affected Nancy loads because then he died in front of her.
But he's not. It's a different situation to when Fred chastises her. Because that's when the Bernard comes into the shop.
Yeah, but I think it's all part of it. So, but then she opens the window. Then they open the nurse. She sees the nuns open the window to let the soul out, and that's basically what I want to say on that point. And then we can talk about the one with Bernard now if you want, because that leads on.
Sure. To that. Bex, do you want to give us the info, the intro?
No.
Well, I can. So basically, there's a whole storyline about homeless people in Poplar. So it starts at the doctor's surgery where Dr. Turner and Miss Higgins and Sheila are talking about homeless people outside. And Sheila doesn't seem too sympathetic for me. For an ex-nun, she's like, they're so unsavoury. No, they're so unsavoury and people are afraid of them.
The fact that Miss Higgins has gone outside with the bleach to clear up, she's not even the one having to clear up after them.
No. And she's just like, they're so unsavoury. I thought, you're an ex-nun.
I know.
Yeah, they all were really harsh about those gentlemen. Yeah.
So anyway, so then Joan Avis from Cottonfield Tower goes into Violet. This is all to do with the same storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So Joan Avis goes in and she goes into Violet Buckle's haberdashers. Yeah. And she's like, you can't come in here. I've got my formal meeting later on. And she's like, this is a formal meeting. I am wearing my formal coat. And I thought, this is so Victoria Wood. It's like a Victoria Wood sketch.
I loved it.
And then she's like, I won't pay rent. And she was like, well, I don't know where you think you are, but this isn't the rents office. And then she's like, it's not a dressmaker's either. That hem looks like it was done with a knife and fork, which
is savage. That is so savage.
It is so savage, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, dang, you went for the jugular on that one.
So anyway, Mrs. Avis is quite angry about all the homeless people in Poplar, and basically saying all the buildings have been knocked down.
But hold up, though. She also complains about something in her own building. She's like, the trash hasn't been collected. I think she says the laundry
rubbish chute is broken, basically.
Yeah, and something else. She's like, you need to fix it. It's been broken for weeks. And I was like, well, that is a legitimate concern. So
yeah. So Colette and Nancy are playing ball, and they're outside an artist's house, and it goes into night. Now I think it's their own garden, their own allotment, isn't it?
It looked like the lot. Yeah, because it looked like Fred's shed in the background.
Yeah.
You know how he has the shed where he's always taking things out of it? Yeah, it looked like the shed.
Yeah. So Colette goes to try and get the ball, and Mrs. Avis is in there in the background, suddenly out of nowhere, being like, she just totally makes the situation even more worse. I think Nancy would have been quite fine about it. But she's like, mess drinkers are like rats, except the council does something about rats. So then Nancy becomes a bit nervous about it. And I think they're trying to say that, Nancy's kind of stirred a bit by Mrs. Avis's kind of
and Mrs. Davis is like, oh, don't worry, I haven't taken my eye off her. It's like, ma'am, you're not her mother. I am your mother. Like, I was like, it was like, she's like, don't worry, I'm watching your child for you. So
Colette goes into the allotment, their own land, and
their own fenced off garden.
Yeah, and there is a man in there. Now he's played by a really famous, his name's Phil Cornwell, and he does so much comedy over here. Like, he's been on Stella Street, Alan Partridge and stuff. Like, I was like, oh my God.
I didn't recognise him.
Oh, do you not? If you look him up, honestly, he's really, really famous. So
I didn't recognize him either, but I think I have a different frame of reference.
Yeah.
Oh.
You must have seen Alan Partridge.
Yes, but yeah.
So anyway, she meets him, and he's called Bernard. She finds out. Nancy, not Colette. Nancy goes in and basically, is that when she first goes to speak to him, or does she go in later on that night?
No.
She does not speak to him at that point.
She doesn't speak to him, and then Bernard comes into the newsagents, and then that's when Fred's listening to her, and then that's when she goes at night to talk to him.
Yes, so at this point, Fred and Violet have already spoken about the fact that there's been an invite into Parliament as well that Violet's going on about. And also, do you know what I liked as well? He's like, have you been frying bread? And he's like, oh, I saved it for you, but yeah, it just went, it wouldn't be nice.
It was going cold. It wouldn't be nice. Yeah.
Also, there's no way, if you're frying bread, we used to have fried bread. There's no way you can hide the smell of fried bread.
No, not at all. So anyway, Fred and Violet are already speaking about the fact that there's going to be this meeting, like the Parliament thing, and Fred's like, oh, I think all you need to do is just gather everyone and ask what they want. And I'm like, I don't know if that's really how it works, Fred, because everyone's got an opinion.
And even she's like, I'm not sure that's gonna work either, but anyway, we'll
Yeah,
see.
what else does it? So anyway, so then Bernard goes. This is before we know his name's Bernard, though, isn't it? So he goes into
Yep.
the newsagent and asks if they sell alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Now, Fred was an outstanding
Yeah, I
citizen
love
at this
Fred.
point.
I love Fred anyway, as you know.
Same. But basically, Nancy and Violet herself annoyed me here because Violet's a flaming representative for loads of people, and she was a bit of a snob at this point, being like, "Oh, he smells" and stuff, and just being like. And Nancy did a bit of a joke about him. Basically, was it about him smelling? Oh no,
Yeah.
it was about but it was about basically about him smelling, but also like, oh, I wouldn't put a naked flame.
Naked flame near him.
Yeah. And they start
Mhm.
laughing. And Fred was like, well, he'll have been a respectable bloke once and he doesn't deserve us laughing at him. And that really hit a chord with Nancy because she just felt awful, which she should have done,
She
if I'm honest.
should. She should. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fred goes and gives him some drinks and is like, it's not much, mate, but here you go if you want it. And he was really nice, this Bernard. We didn't know it was Bernard at this point, this unnamed man.
Mhm.
So then Nancy obviously felt a bit bad, and also she'd had the whole situation with Sister Francis, so I think it was all food for thought for her. And
Mhm.
so she goes and takes some things to Bernard, and she takes him a walking stick and a Mac,
Yes.
and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to
And
go."
gotta get I have to stand up because honestly, everyone deserves credit when credit is due. And Nancy was really wonderful and kind to him in the scene, and she was very compassionate. And she was like, "Do you want me to look at your leg? Are you sure it's okay?" And talk to him. And she was just really sweet, and she treated him like a real person. And I gotta give her props.
I also like the way he described his name, Bernard, like the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although you say Saint Bernard, don't you?
we do.
Yeah. Do you say
We would.
Bernard
How
as
would
the
you
name
say his
Bernard?
name?
Well, I would say Bernard. I wouldn't say Bernard.
Phew.
Bernard. I would say Bernard.
I did not know that.
Well, this is like the Morris versus Maurice conversation again because
Or
I would
Craig and
say
Craig.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Craig
yeah,
that's just weird.
yeah.
I mean, Bernard can totally get. Do you know what I mean? They're both spelt and said. Do you know what I mean? You can say Bernard and Bernard. If anything, Bernard's probably more sense than Bernard.
But
Yes, I
also
agree.
with Morris and Maurice, I get that more than Craig and Craig.
I want to see new spellings of Craig, which is Kreg. That'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh, I bet there are. I
I
bet
bet
there
there's
are.
loads. Or Kreg.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I've got this stick for you because your leg, and he's like, oh, what do you mean my leg? I can't feel anything in my leg. And she's like, oh right. And then she's basically saying, what's in your drink? And he's like, oh, let's just say there's something else there. And she's like,
Well, she's like, "Oh, are you enjoying your drink?" Like, that was,
that
Fred,
Fred gave you.
Fred gave you. Are you enjoying the pop or soda pop that Fred gave you? And he's like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "There's a little something else in here now, though." And you're like, "Oh, oh, oh, goodness, okay."
Yeah. So she's basically saying about going to the doctors, and she's like, I'm at the doctors, or like a walking clinic. You can come and see us, and we can take a
Yeah.
look at your leg if you want, because he didn't really want her to look at it right there and then. So then he turns up to the doctor. This is, fast forward. There's a few other storylines that go on and roll around because this is all very interlocked today, I think. So then he turns up at the doctor's, and some bloody horrible woman in the background's going on about him smelling, which I was just a bit like, oi, have some respect.
It was
Like, I
rude.
would never, even if you did stink the place out, like, you don't
Yeah.
say it dead loud. And so anyway,
A
what
lot
you
of
call it?
people don't treat people who are like that with basic dignity.
No. Well, Miss Higgins
So,
was like, you can wait outside.
hmm
And he was like, no, it's all right, it's all right. And he left, right? Now, what I really
Mm.
loved was the next scene, which was Nancy, Dr. Turner, and Fred all going to try and find him to help him, which I absolutely loved. Like, I doubt it would
Well,
happen.
Well, yeah, and I will say I did really appreciate the fact that Dr. Turner was like, "Oh, Fred, thank you for coming," because even though I brought Nurse Corrigan here, like I don't know that I really feel comfortable just if something happened, like that it's only me. And then
Yeah,
like what, like I couldn't protect her basically, which
yeah,
I have to say, I mean, with all respect to everyone involved, like it is a dangerous situation. Like
yeah.
you're in a dangerous
Well,
place with people who
alcohol doesn't make people make the best decisions, does it?
Right, right. And some people don't act with good, with good intention. So
But
you
there was
just
a
And
don't know.
Doctor
scene. Oh, go on.
Dr. Turner has a tip to put, is it eucalyptus balm underneath his nose?
Yeah, he was like, when I was going to the Doss houses, I learned that trick and had, he was trying to
But
be
why
this
didn't he
like
give it
guy.
to Fred? Because I could see Fred grimacing at one
Fred's a
point.
man. Fred knows. Fred doesn't need that protection. Only Nancy's sensitive nostrils need the,
Well, they were talking about
eucalyptus
why,
balm.
weren't they? They were talking about why it smelled so much. And Dr. Turner gave this really like long, intricate. raw alcohol is basically rotting the flesh from the inside out, hence the smell.
Oh
And also
God.
alcohol is damaging
Oh
brains and blind them. I
God.
was like, oh my God.
I know, I never realised. I just
Horrifying.
thought it was like a more severe form of alcoholism, but it's not.
Yeah, it's genuinely rotting them from the inside. And then
Well,
Fred, when the smell was there, he could not contain himself.
No.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
right.
did quite lol at that.
So Nancy tries to gently ease his shoe off.
Oh, don't. I like the way she was a bit bossy with him as well then before that.
Yeah. But she actually took his
Don't,
foot off.
don't.
Oh my God, like her acting, her hands were shaking.
It was brilliant acting.
Yeah.
And he
It
couldn't
was really
feel a
grim.
thing.
It was really grim.
I was just like, Christ alive. Like I couldn't.
What
I was
would
wet.
you do in that situation? It would just be horrendous.
I'd be sick all over him.
Yeah.
I genuinely would.
I don't think I'd throw up. I mean
I would
it's hard.
100%.
It's horrifying. Well, maybe I would throw up. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean,
I
who
think I
could
would.
say?
I'd faint, definitely.
Yeah, same, 100%. I'm surprised I didn't faint at the telly. I just kept having to sell myself like that's not real. It's grey. It's a grey weird prop.
I mean, the thing that Dr. Turner does say is that it's not even at this point like what he thought it was. Like his whole leg has gone gangrene at this point, and so he's like, we have to get him to the hospital. Like, like he really needs medical care. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if he's gonna like keep his
It's
limb.
catastrophic
You know what I mean? Like
self-neglect. Catastrophic self-neglect.
yes. And honestly, I will say for myself, like, and not to make myself sound so great, but I was very like that was when I really was just like, oh my gosh, Bernard, oh my goodness, Bernard. Like I felt so bad for him. Like I felt bad for him already, but you just see like how he's just really in a terrible, terrible place mentally. Like, I felt so dang bad for him. Like,
Well,
But also, we haven't
poor
spoken
man.
about
Bernard's just oblivious.
yeah, but we also haven't spoken about the fact that Nancy and Bernard have got a little bit of a rapport now because his mum was Irish and he's like, oh, where are you from? And
Yeah.
so they've kind of got a little bit of a rapport. So Nancy goes to the hospital to see him and he's already
Yeah.
spoken about buttercups and how his
Loves
mum used to
golden
like,
yellow.
yeah, and because his mum loved yellow. And so Nancy goes into the hospital to speak to him. And there's a really nice scene where they're talking. Like, you think he's a really good actor. And they're talking about like, his mum and stuff. And it was just really, really nice.
It was beautiful.
was.
And then he's not doing well, but she goes back to the hospital later,
Yeah.
and that's
Well, she
when
also
he's
speaks to Francis as well, Sister Francis, to be like, how do you do it? Like,
yeah. Well,
we
and I'll
could-
oh,
go on, Jen.
Oh, this may be what you were trying to say, but like the scene that really got me, and I thought it was actually one of the best. I love the way was acted, I love the way it was done, was when I think he was either dying or he had just passed away, and Nancy comes out of the room and she's wearing this like golden yellow mini dress and she's got the little flower and everything. And she says to Francis, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this, and I just feel he's so alone or I'm so alone, something about being alone. And
no one
Francis
loves him. Yeah.
yeah, and she says, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And so she holds her arms out to
Yeah.
Nancy. It
She's
was
like, there's
so
only one person who loves him or something. There's only me who loves him. And she's like, no, it's not just you or some kind of thing.
yeah. It was I wish I could remember the exact wording
Yeah.
of it, but it was so touching, and it was so it like in another to another from another person or in a different circumstance, it would come across, I think, really cheesy. But the way that Francis does it is so sincere
Yeah.
and so almost practical. It was sublime.
Yeah, it was absolutely
And
amazing.
a bit more context around that. The reason Nancy wears the yellow dress is because he says he always looks out for like yellow markers, like a yellow door or something that reminds him of his mum, because that was her
Yeah.
favourite colour. Now, the yellow dress that Nancy wears, it was so thoughtful and at the same time the most horrible dress.
They kill me with her outfits. I don't know why they don't. I wish they would give her different clothes sometimes.
Yeah, but that was of the time, wasn't it? Like,
No, I know, but some of her outfits genuinely just don't seem like they fit her, and I'm like, she's not a big girl, but it's like just give her like all of Trixie's outfits are like tailored to a T and everything, and it's just like I don't know why. Sometimes it bothers me. I just feel like find her
I think
something that
that's the
fits her
life of a
better.
big boobed woman. I think that's the life of a big boobed woman.
And that's why I'm glad I've not got big boobs, everyone.
I mean, I am afflicted. People have seen now.
Yeah. I am a small-chested woman and grateful.
I mean, the thing
I'm jealous.
I know. The thing that Nancy does though is she's just got it's like the most mini. I mean, that was the part that I felt was like a bit much because I was like, literally that skirt was so dang on short. I don't know.
I think
The dress
we're
was
going off
fine.
the actual gorgeousness of this storyline right now. So then he dies, and it's really sad, but Nancy's there for him with Sister Francis's support of how to do this.
Yes.
And they talk about the fact that, they haven't got a last name for him, they don't have anyone. So Nancy gives him her last name. So that there's someone there for him. I really love that. And also she's Irish, so it works.
And it's so that if someone looks, they see that he belongs to somebody. And
yeah.
That was really nice.
Now, this actually brought a conversation between Dr. Turner and Shelagh and Bex. It made me think of you. Did you?
I know. I made a note about this.
So Dr. Turner says, when I got back from Italy, I was encouraged to talk, and maybe I didn't talk enough. So he was just saying,
no, you told the exact amount that you wanted to, Dr. Turner, and
never a word more.
So basically, he was saying that people like Bernard never got that chance, and we were all the things that happened to us, aren't we? And we have all been so lucky, haven't we? That we have been so lucky, haven't we? Made me want to be sick in myself. That was between Shelagh and Dr. Turner. It was like this really lovey-dovey moment between them.
Oh, God. But you know what, guys? And I realized it again later in the episode.
Did it make you realize how lucky you are to have us?
Oh, yes, definitely. But the other thing is that it was another scene where they were sat so far apart. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this must be just as COVID stuff is beginning to be a little less strict because...
Yeah. Also, we were longer than you on the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But I was just like, oh, this is just they're still sitting so far apart. And I thought, why? Why are they so And then I was like, oh, it's got to still be the carryover of the COVID thing. And then I really knew at the very end of the episode with Trixie and Matthew, and I won't say anything about that just yet, but then I was like, oh, this is definitely what it is.
Yeah.
Now, should we touch on Sister Jenn?
Oh, hang on, really quick. We need to talk about Violet's meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's there, Matthew, Mrs. Avis, talking about unsavoury elements through the borough and all that kind of stuff. So when basically, I'll do really quick. She goes to the House of Commons with this whole plan to talk about all these things, but actually kind of gets railroaded into not talking about it, and then basically saying that the plan was that the police are going to have better kind of
powers of dispersal.
Well done, yes. Increasing the police powers, basically. And then she feels uneasy about it. She tells Fred about it, and he's like, what? And then that makes her feel even more uneasy when she was already feeling terrible. Can I also just say, though, Cyril was outstanding, calming Violet before a meeting and sorting a hairspray for her.
Oh, I didn't get that scene.
Oh, Jenn.
Is that because she was borrowing it off Lucille?
I think so. I mean, I don't think he wears it.
She basically crouched down in the shop and he hairsprayed her hair for her. It was amazing.
Oh,
it was outstanding.
This is one of those. I normally don't feel this way too much, but stuff like last week too, I missed so much, and I was like, why are they?
Jenn, that could have been you.
Do you remember, Jenn, when this is very niche, but I'm going to go with it. Do you remember when Jessica Simpson went out with that? Oh, what was the guitarist called? John Mayer.
Oh,
and he said the sexual napalm. That scene for you, Jenn, was your sexual napalm. Anyway,
I can't believe you just compared me to John Mayer. That's so rude. That is so rude.
Or Cyril to Jessica Simpson. Anyway, so basically the takeaway from this whole thing was Violet was really uneasy about it, didn't know what to do. Anyway, then she decided she was going to sort out facilities for alcohol addiction in the borough. So that was the takeaway from all that Violet's legacy was going to be having the alcohol facilities for people, alcohol addiction facilities for people who were struggling, which is a brilliant thing to come out of that.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So now we can talk about Sister Julienne, who looked like she'd been bloody dug up.
Yes, and pissed off about it too, actually.
This storyline just seemed unnecessary.
I feel like she had something done in real life where she couldn't walk, because what an acting job, just sitting in bed all day complaining. Love that.
So she had basically an inner ear infection.
Yeah. She started being dizzy on a bike, and Fred to the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
And this must be hellish, because it would just feel like, when you're hungover and the room's spinning.
Oh, it's awful. Not even when you're hungover. That's usually when I'm drunk. When you have to put your leg out because you're going to be sick everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do that anymore.
No.
But Dr. Turner was like, you work yourself to a thread. Then what happens? Thread snaps. And Dr. Turner was really stern. She was like, I'll do it for 3 days. And he was like, no, you will not. You'll listen to me.
You'll do it for as long as I say, woman.
Yeah, basically.
And when she was just like, I will rest for 3 days, I was like, why don't you just see how you get on? You might be fine in 2. Firstly, when you have to ring in sick at work, I've never felt more guilty. Even when you're genuinely ill.
I know, it's awful, isn't it? I've never
Wait, you feel guilty when you're genuinely ill?
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
And
because
I
I
can't
feel
help
like
it.
they're going to think I'm lying.
Yeah, but I've also never ever done it not ill. I've never pretended
Yeah, no,
to
I
be
haven't
ill.
either.
No.
Oh, if I'm really sick, I don't feel bad.
Oh no, I just genuinely think they're going to think I'm lying.
Yeah,
Like I
same. I
feel
thought
like,
it's something to do with it. Being ill,
yeah,
maybe.
and you're
No.
always like, oh, I'm not well today. Like you can, I won't go into detail, but there's situations where there's no way you're going to recover by the next day, but you're like, oh, I'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Yeah,
See, to
same.
me, if you're calling in sick on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday, then I think it's even more legitimate. Like I feel bad if I'm like, oh, I'm quote conveniently sick on like a Monday or a Friday because it just makes it. I feel like you could be like, oh, well, she just wants a 3-day weekend. I mean, I literally haven't called in sick to work and like I honestly can't even remember the last time I did it. But
My last sick day was in 2020
oh
I had
wow.
time off for my surgery, didn't I?
because I was forced to go and get a COVID test, even though I knew I didn't have COVID. I
Mm.
proved that I didn't have COVID so that I could attend a birthday. And I knew I didn't have COVID because I didn't have those symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And it was before we had self tests at home, so I had to go to the airport and go.
Go to
It
the
was like some
airport.
Yeah, ours was a football
apocalypse.
stadium, honestly.
Yeah, where you drove, you didn't get out of the car, and someone shoved the thing up your nose. Oh my God,
Yeah, it was awful.
Ooh,
it was
yikes.
awful. It was awful. Anyway,
Sister
so
Hilda was loving that she was ill. She was loving the opportunity to sort the 100-year celebration, and Sister
What did
Julianne was
What
not
did you
happy with
guys
it.
think about all the drama with those three ladies? I
I loved
actually was
it.
on Sister Hilda's side on this one.
Same.
say
I felt like it was so rude, honestly, of Sister Julianne. And I love Sister Julianne, but I felt like it was so rude of her because Hilda was sitting there and she was like, "Look, you need help. I will help you. Like, I know how to do this. Like, I can manage it. Like, I'm really good at celebrations. Like, I can figure it out." And she was like, "Well,
Well, do
and
you
then
know what
Dr.
annoyed me the most, Jen? Is how she was
What?
talking shade about her to Sheila. She was like, Sister Hilda is as inventive as she is enthusiastic. So then she asks Sheila to take over, saying that she wants something simple, dignified, nothing untruthful. No one can do it better. I thought, rude. And then Sister Hilda
Yes,
being annoyed,
rude,
saying Sister
honestly.
Bernadette and ex nun. She's so right. I think that's so rude.
Honestly, she is so right. Yes, like it
yeah.
was not right for Sheila to, and like it would be one thing if Sheila like was like a busybody and like busybodied her way into it, but Sister Julian asked her to do it, and I was like, you have all, and the thing is, like, again, love for Sister Julian, but she has all these arcane rules about, oh, we're nuns, oh, we're this, like, oh, blah 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 blah, like, I mean, I'm like, well, ma'am, this is exactly the time when you gotta like play the nun card, like, get one of your own to do the job, like, it just.
Now,
I don't
also,
know. I
so
felt like
she
it was
didn't
so
want
unfair.
to do it, which is fine. Right? It annoyed me, but it was fine. She got a memory box out, right? What was the significance of that? Because I didn't see
I
anything in the
I
actual
never
plan.
got what they were even talking about with
I
that.
don't know because it was that bloody thing that
Yeah. Will you marry my dad?
will you yeah or
What?
will you be my mum or something?
No, will you marry my dad? It was.
Oh, was it? It was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
God,
But I
she
don't
probably got
understand why
that
they
one
got it
in
out.
there. That
Like,
do you remember when she told Dr. Turner she was pregnant? She drew that awful picture of a fetus.
yeah.
Boo.
I mean,
Sometimes
the
those
modern
two are
alternative of
just
that is like getting a tattoo of a fetus, I reckon.
yikes.
But I don't really understand why she had the memory box, what the significance was, because all she did was like have a piano. It was weird.
It was as if
It didn't
yeah, I
make
don't
sense.
know.
It did not
I
make
did like
sense.
the way Sister Hilda looked over the plans, trying to disapprove of them.
But actually approved.
Yeah.
And yeah, and more respect to Sister Hilda for that.
Do you know what else I really liked as well? So when Miss Higgins and Sheila was going through the music, Miss Higgins basically had her karma from when she'd lived in her aunt's house and been really mean to them all because Sheila was absolutely being so rude to her and riding roughshod over her. And I just thought, you know what? That's karma.
Yeah.
See, this was another part where I feel like the centenary in my episode wasn't really like a storyline. Like it didn't feel like it really made that much sense to have a whole thing of it. It was just like, why are we doing this? So I missed that, I guess.
Did they talk about the Queen's shoes on your bit as well then?
What about the Queen's shoes?
So they were
No.
talking about the Queen's shoes for some reason because it was the Canadian centenary or something. Anyway, they were talking about the Queen's shoes and they were saying about how the Queen seems to wear the same shoes all the time now. And Nurse Crane was like, "Oh, she used to wear a peep toe, but now she just wears the same shoes." And I read something ages ago about the Queen wore the same style of shoes for 50 years, all handmade by London-based company Anello and Davide. While the company is said to have provided hundreds of pairs to the Queen over the years, it is thought that she has 10 pairs on rotation at once. So I looked that fact up because I thought, I wanted to look like I knew something about the Queen's shoes.
How many pairs of shoes do you guys have in regular wear?
Oh, well, it depends on the season.
Well, I've been rubbish recently because all I've been able to wear is trainers. So I've just started wearing sandals this week. Woohoo! Because
Okay.
we're having lovely weather here.
And I
But I've
haven't
got
been
like
able
two
to,
pairs of boots, two pairs of trainers, one pair of sandals, and a
yeah, and
flip.
I haven't been able to fit into a lot of my trousers. So I've just been wearing a lot of skirts over the winter. So I've just really been living in one pair of boots.
Just every day, no matter what the occasion, you're just wearing one pair of shoes.
Well, those are my work boots. But on weekends, I'm probably to be found in a croc.
Okay.
I've got a wedding next week in 2 weeks, and I bought some kind of like weird espadrille. They're not a platform, but they're one level because obviously my knee.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to look like Kate Middleton?
I'm gonna look. Does she wear espadrilles? I mean, lots of people
She
before have
does.
told me I look
Yeah,
like
I
her.
think she does.
Heeled espadrille.
It's like one kind of like inch high, all of it. I have been compared to Kate Middleton quite a lot.
As you should be.
Yeah, very willowy
I've just
is
gone,
what the people get described me as.
I've just gone ordering a lot of summer sandals. There we go, everyone. I'm waiting for some summer sandals to come in.
See, because I don't I think 10 pairs of shoes actually sounds quite appropriate.
Not for as many engagements as she has. I think that's quite few, really.
Well, I guess that you got to think, right? Like, okay, I don't wear 10 pairs of shoes in rotation. I probably have, well, I'm in a bad situation right now because like a bunch of my shoes have just worn out and also like now like hurt my feet. So I just ordered a bunch of new shoes and I'm really hoping they come today because
We're
I really
both
need
waiting
them.
for shoes, Jen.
Huh?
We're both waiting for shoes.
See?
Yeah.
We have that in common.
I am
Yeah,
as well.
I ordered
I'm waiting for those espadrilles, vintage.
Yeah, I ordered a pair of sneakers, I ordered a pair of Mary Janes, I ordered a pair of loafers, I ordered another pair of loafers,
Oh my
a
God.
pair of like high heels. I mean, I don't know that I'm gonna keep all of them or that they're gonna look good or I'm gonna like them or they're gonna fit or anything like that, but I was like, I don't know, there was like good sale on and I just went for it. But my point is that day to day, and I mean, I live in a different climate than you guys, so like I don't really deal with like that much like terrible weather of like snow or ice or things like that. So I kind of have like a more seasonless shoe selection. But I probably rotate between maximum like 4 different pairs of shoes, and I just don't wear that much different.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we've gone on about shoes too long. Sorry.
I think we've really digressed.
Anyway,
Anyways, wait,
do
we
you
have
know
to
who else
talk
puts
about
the shoes
Trixie.
on? Sister Julienne. She gets
Yes,
up and
she
about.
does. And she comes out and it's all fine. But you guys, we have to talk about Trixie and Matthew.
This is what we're going to next. So
Okay.
there's rain for the centenary, and the constant spry trained Trixie is putting some flowers up in this like what would you call it?
Floral arch.
Floral arch. Beautifully worded. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Matthew's there just basically hanging around. No real reason for him to be there.
Honestly,
And,
why? Yeah.
well, we know why now. So basically talks about flowers to Trixie and he's saying, oh, if I'd have known you were constant spry trained, I wouldn't have sent you that
That bouquet.
Swiss plant or whatever it was. But then he was like, what is it? A Swiss cheese plant, isn't it?
Yeah, Swiss cheese plant. Yep.
Yeah. So basically he's like asking to send her flowers. Basically, he awkwardly asks her. It's beautiful though. It was really cute.
It was adorable.
Yeah. Basically awkwardly asks her to send her flowers. And if you'd let me, I would fill your arms with flowers. Roses, lilacs, lilies, red roses, so everyone knows what they mean. I hope you very much know what I mean when I do this. And then he kisses her in front of Nonata's house and Sheila in the piano.
Well, the thing that was, again, this is where I was like, oh, this is COVID, because he literally he's like, oh, that's why I'm going to do this now. And he just walks up to her face and they literally just put their faces like in front of each other. There's no way they were really touching. There's no way. That kiss was the fakest kiss I've ever seen in my whole life.
Regardless of COVID, how weird must it be to be quite heavy pregnant, snogging another man?
Well,
I think that sounds probably pretty good, honestly.
What did she say?
It sounds pretty good.
If you pan round, the way they did it, their faces didn't even get close. I reckon they were like 6 foot apart.
Oh, absolutely. They were so far apart. It was ridiculous. But you know what I actually thought about with her, and I feel for her because Helen George has talked about the fact that she really suffered from that pregnancy illness where you have like really itchy skin all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she really struggled with it when she was pregnant with her girls, and how she like really, thanked like Jack Ashton, her partner, and everything, because like he really helped her through it, and she had it with the second one, and even with the second one she still knew it was coming, but like she, had her tips and tricks and everything, but it was still really hard and whatever like that. And I just think like, because I have very sensitive skin, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs with my skin.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm having a flare or any kind of thing where my skin is just acting up and it's like really like irritated or red or dry or like, yucky or whatever. Like the last thing I want to do is put on makeup and get all dolled up and then put on potentially like an itchy outfit or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know what she was going through in this, and maybe she was actually feeling okay, but I gave her real props when I saw like her and I realized she was pregnant, because I was like, oh, I hope she was not, like really uncomfortable while she was filming this,
Well, yeah.
I hope so. I hope she was not. But
And
yeah, but she didn't really get to kiss Matthew. I mean, the thing is they have like a bunch of snog fests like later on when they like truly do get together, so they made up for it.
Yeah. But the flowers looked gorgeous.
They did look gorgeous.
The piano looked weird. I just thought, what was the relevance of showing us that bloody box?
She'd created a choir, which again, how did that come from the box? We don't know.
Well, so at the end, they were talking about how the rain was the perfect weather. It wasn't. Rain's never the perfect weather.
Do you know what? At the start of this episode, when Vanessa Redgrave came on, I just thought, I never really know what she's talking about.
Her intro in this was, you guys, it was really stupid. She was like,
yeah, it always is, Jenn.
She's like, no, but I mean, no, I know, but like sometimes like when you're watching it, you're like, oh, it like the intro doesn't usually make a lot of sense because you don't know what's coming. But then once you like, once you like hear it and you know what's going to happen, especially at the ending when she gives her little like blurb at the end, it's like, okay, that like kind of wraps this up real nice and tidy or whatever. But when she literally busted out with like gray skies and bad weather can often be a tiding of something, and I was just like, ma'am, you're talking about it was truly like the most meaningless Hallmark card message.
I just think they could scrap that bit now.
Honestly, you guys, I'm going to say something. If this episode didn't have the whole Bernard storyline and like all that stuff, I don't think this was like a great episode. I think it was fine. I think it was like a very mid episode.
The singing itself.
The singing wasn't anything special.
Bex, you missed the whole joke. You've been here the whole time.
Shall we do heroes and zeros? Was there anything else anyone wants to say?
No.
I feel robbed that I didn't get to see Cyril bring hairspray.
I mean, I'll record it for you. It's the most erotic thing you'll ever see in your life. Right, Bex.
All of his scenes with Vi have a real frisson.
Genuinely, how much, Bex, would she have loved to be sat there? I like you wouldn't.
My hero is going to be Nancy.
Nice.
Actually, very well deserved. Yes, on board with this. Yes.
Yeah, she's not proven herself because she's got nothing to prove because she's been consistent all along.
Oh, now you've gone too far. Give me a break, Vanessa Redgrave. Yeah, really. That's about as meaningful as like Miss Thing's intro this week on the show.
No, she did deserve it this week. Carry on.
She absolutely deserved it this week, yes.
My zero is going to be Sister Francis.
What?
For cleaning a shoe covered in dog dirt in the kitchen sink and saying that she was trying hard not to spray it everywhere. Why on earth did she not clean her shoe outside?
Yeah, but to be fair,
I didn't even see that scene, so I don't even know what that was about.
You know how sometimes there's like a scene of them and they're in the kitchen and they're doing something, they're cooking, they're chatting.
Yeah.
She was cleaning dog dirt off her shoe, apologising for the smell, and saying
spray as well.
Trying not to spray it everywhere.
Yeah, it was rank. But I'm going to counteract that by saying my hero is Sister Francis.
There we go.
Dog do aside, she was absolutely outstanding. And also it really showed another side to her and how, do you know what gets me? When we first met her, she was all really nervous and stuff. Like how at ease was she in that situation?
Yeah, she was very confident.
How comfortable in such a terrible part of people's lives. And how amazing and how brilliant and easy she made it for people and how she helped Nancy as well. She was 100% my hero. Absolutely loved her. I think she's fantastic. I love her so much. My zero, I've got two, but I don't know who Jen's going to do, so I might have to do one after. My zero is going to be the MPs for increasing police powers to disperse. That was their problem solving there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We'll knock all these houses down, give them nowhere to live, and then we'll just make it easier for people to arrest them. That's how we're going to resolve this.
I was going to try to clap at that zero, but I know it wouldn't come across, so I'm just going to say yes, 100% agree. The way to solve a problem like this, especially homelessness and a person who's really struggling with, potentially mental health or substance abuse, is not with harsher penalties and punitive action.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Sister. But there's a time for compassion and kindness, and this is the time.
Yeah.
Okay. My zero is going to be...
Just while you're thinking, because you take a minute. behind
I
the scenes
do.
for everyone. Jen always takes a minute, despite us doing heroes and zeros every week, just saying. But last week, I've just edited last week's episode today, and neither of you two listened to mine. And both of
Yeah,
you
but I
listened
thought
to
about
yours.
this afterwards, and I did participate in the conversation about yours because I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yes, that's a good one."
Yeah,
I remember what it was now. Your zero was burglars.
yeah. Anyway,
I mean, I
on,
didn't
sorry.
remember it
I don't have
2
a
seconds after
defense.
you'd said it.
I
Yeah.
don't remember it, to be honest.
Well, to be fair, you've not done it this week, so well done, guys.
Okay.
Well done, you've listened to me.
I know who my hero is going to be. Who's my zero? My zero is going to be kind of a piggyback on yours, Al. Not the MPs, but the lack of true support and housing and care for these folks, Bernard and his compatriots, and even the gentleman in the TB house. I mean, it was a better situation than, not, but I do just think there's more we can do for folks who are, really suffering. So that's my zero. And then my hero I'm going to give to Fred because, wait, neither one of you said Fred.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Fred because honestly, his moment in the newsagents really got to me, and I think he was exactly right. And I'm glad that he had. Sometimes it's hard to say stuff to the people that you care about when they're kind of step out. And I'm glad that he compassionately or kindly, rather, kind of like chastised Vi
Yeah.
and Nancy. I think that was
Yeah.
really good of him to do that, honestly, because it caused them both to stop and think.
Yeah.
And then the way that he, just grabbed the cigarettes and the drink for Bernard, and went out and just treated him like a human being and just said, hey, and they had a really nice moment. I thought that was ultimately just very, very kind. And
100%.
yeah, I really like that.
My other zero then is the lady in reception who was like, "Ew, this man stinks."
Oh, yes.
Get in the bin.
Yes.
So yeah,
Just people shouldn't treat people like that.
No, you really shouldn't. And I'm glad you two listened to me this week. It made me feel more care and compassion. So next time we will be watching series 11, episode 4. So if you'd like to watch and then listen along, that would be fantastic. So you know what we're going on about. And you can follow us on Blue Sky, X, Facebook, Instagram. We've got a YouTube, but it's not our faces. But you have seen my face now, so that's exciting. Bex and Jen,
Your
their
beautiful,
big reveal
beautiful
next
face.
week. And
no, we're not going to be revealed. We're women of mystery. We're international women of mystery.
I think we'll reveal ourselves when Jen comes over and we'll post a picture of us all at
the Call The Midwife tour.
Call the Midwife tour. And then we can all get appropriately glammed up.
Although I will say,
God.
listeners, it's been really funny, and maybe more of them have said to you, Al, than just the couple that you sent. But a few of our listeners were commenting on like seeing you for the first time and how nice it was and how lovely you are and all that, which all totally true. But then they were speculating on what Bex and I look like, and like some of them sent in examples.
I wish I looked like.
Well, yeah. First of all, I was very flattered that people chose celebrities that were very young. I was like, oh, thank you, because this makes me feel so good about my youthfulness. But then also just like either really cool, really pretty, really funny, really smart.
I was like, no, they're too pretty to be Jen. I was not. But I was like, neither of them look like either of them. Like they genuinely didn't look like you, both of you. Like not in a bad way. You're both fantastic.
Well, they suggested. I mean, the honestly, the closest anyone got was that they were like white people. That was the best that they did. Other than that, not really. But
Yeah.
And they were both they were women. They got the correct gender and the correct race. Beyond that, not quite so much. But
confirm you're both women.
Yes.
Anyway, right. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.